Is it virtually impossible to get your kid to go to sleep? Well, I have some tips in this video for you, and along with my series, my video series on how to win bedtime battles. If you have a toddler that is still sleeping with you, I highly recommend watching these videos so that you can make that a thing of the past. My name is Nikki Morrow with To the Moon and Back Behavioral Consulting, and my job is to make your lives as parents easier in the day-to-day. And for now, to help you get some sleep. We need to function and we need our sleep. So today's tips are on how to create an environment conducive for sleep. The pre-bedtime wind down. A lot of parents that I have worked with make the mistake of, or they just don't know about this procedure of making sure that their kids kind of calm down their senses. Kids are just naturally overstimulated by things because they haven't quite grasped the ability to regulate all this information and different stuff that's coming at them, as well as a lot of times by the end of the day, by bedtime, they're just overtired. And if you've experienced an overtired toddler, that usually manifests in them bouncing off the walls. They'll go through this part of where they're sleepy and groggy, and then usually they'll get a little cranky, and then they will just get this burst of energy that you have no idea where it came from, and they seem happy-go-lucky, but they are virtually impossible to get to bed. So, thus, the pre-bedtime wind down. My suggestions, actually, let me start off first by saying that because I am teaching parents about behaviors and such, I want to tie it back into sleep is so important, and it really truly affects your child's behavior. So if your kid is not getting enough sleep, that is probably why they're giving you a rough time the next day. So according to WebMD, I looked this up so I might peek at my notes, but for ages 1 to 3, they need 12 to 14 hours of sleep. Yes, okay. From 3 to 6, 10 to 12 hours of sleep. And from 7 to 12, 10 to 11 hours of sleep. So this isn't just they're in their room, but they actually need to be sleeping for that amount of time. So if they're not getting that amount of sleep, there is a big part of your problem. They are not able to regulate themselves the next day. Think about when you pulled all-nighters in college or for a project or something and you just were not functioning the next day. I know I'm one of those people that needs a good 9 hours of sleep in order to function. So, okay. To my tips on the pre-bedtime wind down. So you're gonna wanna limit electronics. Most of these things, if you can do it 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime, that is optimal. So limit any type of electronics. Why? There's a whole bunch of research on this. You're welcome to research it on your own, but it's basically the light. The light, there's a blue light that stimulates the awake sensors in our brain, that stimulates our brain activity, and even for adults. So the best thing to do is to turn off those electronics prior to bedtime. The next tip is to avoid stimulating shows or video games. If your child does that, I know a lot of us try to really limit that, but if your child does watch TV, does do video games, then you're gonna wanna really limit that again, at least 30 minutes to an hour before their bedtime. Dim lights, actually stimulating play. So any type of rough housing and stimulating play, a lot of people are pro doing that because it tuckers them out and then they feel like they'll sleep better. And that is true. It definitely is true, especially for those rambunctious boys that are jumping around the house. You know, you wanna give them that outlet, but not right before bed, because then it gives their body the signal, their mind the signal that it's time to play, it's time to be awake, and why are you asking me to go to sleep when you just played with me. I want to play more, right? So limit that play. The next tip is to dim lights. So think about if you've ever been to a spa or gotten a massage or any of those things. For some of it's a distant memory, but if you have, then you know the type of environment that they produce there. It's usually dim lights, very slow, peaceful music, trickling water, maybe some essential oils. You can go crazy with this if you want and bring in the essential oils and all the cool music and stuff. Or you can just, go ahead and dim the lights. It signals to their brain that it's time to calm down, to be peaceful. It's that little step before the lights go out completely for bedtime. Back to another tip that I want to let you guys know is if you guys know about kids yoga, I like yoga. I found it very peaceful, but my daughter also loves yoga, and I've known a lot of parents and a lot of kids that have really benefited from participating in yoga. And that's aside from any of the religious ties to it or anything like that. I'm talking just purely for a way for them to quiet their minds and just really get in touch with their bodies and calm down. So my daughter loves a YouTube channel called Cosmic Kids, and it just has a bunch of cool videos, and they usually have some sort of theme, like there's a Frozen theme that my daughter loves. And then that really helps to, again, wind them down, get them focused with their breath and their quiet their minds and such. So that's another tip for you. Limit liquids. Okay, so this is kind of an obvious thing, and if you've already done the potty training and all that good stuff, it kind of is, something that you've already been doing. So the trick is you want to keep them asleep. So if you allow them to have a ton of liquids, of course they're gonna have to wake up and go potty, and you really want to limit that as much as possible because it disrupts their sleep cycles and all that good stuff. So limit their liquids right before bed, or an hour or 30 minutes before bed. And also avoid caffeine. So I know a lot of parents don't realize that chocolate is caffeine. It is virtually, if you're giving your kid a chocolate treat before they go to bed, you're basically saying, here's a cup of coffee, enjoy it, and drive me crazy tonight. So please avoid caffeine before bed. If you want to give them their caffeinated treats, that's for like lunchtime. Don't do it after, please. Save yourself that huge burden. So those are my tips for today for the pre-bedtime wind down. I hope you found them informative and helpful. If you did, please like this and share this, and make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my subsequent videos. And also a teaser for next week's video is basically I'm going to be going through bedtime routine, and also how to get through bedtime routine and motivate your child through those non-preferred aspects of bedtime routine, typically brushing teeth and things like that. So I hope to see you all again next week, and take care. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye-bye.